what are you drinking?
I'm actually drinking tea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Back again with that bullshit. Yo, I swear to God,
Tea.
for all the listeners, and I say this respectfully. So we got two alcoholics on the pod. Well, maybe one and a half. No, I would say two. I would say two. Um,
That's crazy.
CJ
That is
is
crazy.
always sipping on wine. I'm always sipping on something. Tonight we got our choices. Hashtag not a sponsor.
Wait, sorry, I don't mean to cut up, but damn, if you're an alcoholic and you're an alcoholic off of wine, yo, that is a sad, sad way to.
Well, yeah. Listen. I haven't even gotten to you. I wouldn't talk too much shit yet.
All right, all right, all
Hashtag
right.
not a sponsor. I'm drinking Hennessy.
Mm.
Um, and then how do I say this politically correct? Man, this is tough. We
Take your
got
time.
the
Take your time.
hold on. I need to hold on. Let me go on ChatGPT to say how do I say what I want to say politically correct. So we got the clear and obvious oh what does AFTV say? Hashtag not a sponsor. They always say the Boohoo Man Waste Man of the Week. Usually
Oh,
Ty gets it.
with like yeah, yeah. Is that the one with like White Yardie too? Is he on
Yeah,
that?
well, yeah, exactly. So our waste man drinks tea.
Wait, wait, wait. What's wrong with tea?
Bro,
What's
there's
wrong?
that.
What's
I'm
wrong with
Middle
tea?
Eastern. I drink tea all the time, but when we're recording, bro, you gotta like come in strong. You gotta come in with that fucking
What,
energy
bro? I'm coming in with that energy on the Lipton, bro. What do you mean?
on the Lipton. Listen, I get it. I think honestly, CJ, I think I figured it out. The reason why he can't get lit this year is because he doesn't have really anything to look forward to. Chelsea suck ass. Manchester United suck more ass. Forest, the scene is too big for them. The shirt's starting to get too heavy. Liverpool, they're winning the PGMOL championship this year, so it doesn't really matter. What other teams am I missing? And I think that's pretty much it, right? Is there any other teams I'm missing, Laurent?
No, no, no. But wait, hold on, hold on. Let's go back to the Liverpool. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a big reason to celebrate, right? Winning a league title. You
Oh,
couldn't
so
just
now
go.
wait, so now you're claiming to be a Liverpool fan as well.
No, no,
So
no,
you
no,
see,
no, no, no,
listeners,
no,
he was talking a couple podcasts before when I was wearing
no,
an
no.
EC Milan jersey. Oh, and now you're saying to celebrate Liverpool winning. Yo, you just outed yourself, bro.
Wait, but you're the one that mentioned the team in the first place. So I was just going. I was just
Yes,
backtrack. Uh-huh.
but you're also accepting the fact you're accepting it. Acceptance is the first step to acknowledging that you have a problem.
That's crazy. Yes, for all you alcoholics out there, I agree. Now, essentially, what I'm doing, yes, I'm accepting the banter, bro. I'm like, I've come to a point where I realize that there's no point in looking to, push back, right? Sure, I got like three teams, that I support. It is what it is. It is at the end of the day, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Man, so yo, this is what Henny does to you.
Yo, honestly, hashtag not a sponsor, but yo, this Henny is lit. Henny XO is fucking lit. None of that bullshit fucking like it's the proper Henny. It's not the bullshit Henny.
Wait, there's a
Listen, man.
bullshit. There's a bullshit, Henny?
Yeah, when you get like the basic Henny, it's not fucking we're talking about the Hennessy. VSOP, not the XO. So
Yo,
there
honestly,
goes like very special
mm,
and then VSOP and then the XO. LeBron James apparently has Hennessy with them. Like I don't fucking know what LeBron's doing, but
wait. So what's the Hennessy that like every um bro, like every roadman in Scarborough like has? You know the one I'm talking about? Like that bottle? Like yeah. Well, I know you. See, this guy is laughing, but he knows what I'm talking about.
Wait, hold on. Was CJ one of those mans back in the day?
That's crazy.
No, no,
That's
no, no, no,
crazy.
no. But CJ knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course, bro.
Yeah, yeah. So which one is that one? Is that the
It's
one
just
you?
I'm pretty sure it's just the XO. No,
Yeah, yeah. It's like the
no, the
basic
one
thing.
I'm drinking is the
Oh,
Vsauce.
oh, okay, okay. True, true.
Yeah.
Got you.
Fam, you guys are gonna get us canceled, bro. This is crazy.
Why?
Friends are talking about alcohol and promoting alcohol and shit. For those listening, I am not an alcoholic. I don't know what this guy's talking about. I'm about to get my lawyer involved because this is fuckery. These allegations are crazy.
Bro, allegedly. Allegedly.
I will say a glass of red wine a night is good for you. For those who are of age, I don't encourage underage
Hmm?
drinking.
A night or
Yeah.
every night?
Like
Why?
once a night is not bad.
Mm,
Listen,
So they
bro.
say. So they say. Don't hate the player,
They
bro.
they
mm.
they know they know that I typically put this as explicit content, so and it's not made for kids. So typically kids shouldn't be listening to this pod. But if you are a kid listening to this, I think you should tune to probably 10 minutes into the pod, and then you'll miss all of this. But yeah, welcome back. Another day, another recording session, another victory. As always, enjoyed by our tea lover, Laurent,
Yes,
Kiana,
sir. Yes, sir.
made of glass, not fiberglass. And then we got CJ, made of concrete,
Jeez.
takes hits, and just gets up like Bukayo Saka, gets his Achilles stepped on, gets up. Laurent gets a shoulder, and he's out for weeks. For you listeners who don't know,
Yo, what?
typically they play Tuesday nights. Laurent's been out for 2-3 weeks because he's just made of glass, not fiberglass. Fiberglass is typically a little bit stronger, but he's made of glass. The glass has been shattered. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's what happens when you're like Cole Palmer. You get a little cold, the warm comes, it shatters, goes into pieces, and then we got to get the
Mm,
super glue to put it back together. But we ran
mm.
out of super glue, so you're a little fragile right now.
Jeez, that's crazy, bro. You're talking like, bro, like half your team isn't injured, bro. Come on, man.
Half my team is injured.
Yeah, this is
We're
what
still
I'm.
we're still in second place, and we're in the semifinals of the Champions League.
Yeah, no, but
Chelsea, with $1 billion roster, are in the semifinals of some kid fucking league, where I'm pretty sure if you guys put your Tuesday night team together, you guys could compete.
wow.
And then
Shout out Dimitri and Net. If this guy ever listened to the pod, he would kill me, bro. Fuck.
oh fuck. And then yeah, what place are you guys in now in Premier League? I don't even know.
Yo, they had a big dub this weekend still.
We're fifth, I believe.
You're fit? Oh shit, son.
Right in the
Moving
mix.
up in this world.
Mm.
Are you guys still looking up at us? Yeah, you guys are still looking up at us. So you guys are 2 points behind Newcastle for third, point behind City, and you guys are in the clog with Villa and Forest at 57 points. Damn.
But what are you saying? Looking up at us, like we're looking at, bro. We're looking up at Liverpool, bro. What do you mean?
You're still looking up at us.
No, no, no. We're looking beyond that, bro. We're looking up at Liverpool. Maybe if you get in the driver's seat, I know it's hot, but if you guys get in that driver's seat, maybe we start looking up at you guys. Till then, yeah, you already know what it is.
Anyways, let's move on from this tea drinking hashtag not a sponsored Lipton man. Arsenal, like, listen, I was able to catch bits and pieces of this game. 4-0. Like, I I expected us to win, but I did not expect us to dominate in the manner that we did. I was just like listening to. I wasn't able to actually like physically watch the game. I was listening to it. But every time I tuned in and I was like paying attention, like it almost seemed like we were on the front foot and we were getting ready for another attack. Like I don't know, we'll get to the red card in a second, but man, that was a pretty like that was a statement, in my opinion. And again, I know it's Ipswich, but that was a statement. The manner that we won and the amount of rotations that we had. But um, what do you think, CJ? Because I know you probably caught the whole game. Like,
Yeah, I
what was
did. I
your
did.
what was your takeaway?
I did catch the whole game. Funny enough, I feel like within the last few weeks, it's been like reverse, where I haven't been able to catch the full Premier League games on the weekend, or have you caught the full games um, for Everton and Brentford? And then I feel like this week, you didn't get to watch the full 90 based on what you're doing at the moment with your move and everything. And yeah, man, so I got you with this one. I actually ended up watching the full 90. I feel like I haven't watched the full 90 for an Arsenal game in the Premier League for a couple of weeks. That's for various reasons, obviously. One, because I've just felt sort of mentally checked out from the Prem with such as our fall from, the title race. And yeah, just more focused on the Champions League. But yeah, this week I managed to catch the game in full. Now I watch these Premier League games with hopes that nobody gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
They're very uneasy watches, because it's like, well, I'm just literally watching from beginning to end, and it's a victory for me nowadays. Like I said, if we complete the game without any injuries, considering our Champions League aspirations at this moment in time. But yeah, man. So we pretty much got through unscathed, just about. It's crazy because I feel like in the last few weeks we've had like these little potential injury scares with fucking what's his name for Brentford's tackle and Martinelli that could have caused Martinelli a serious injury.
Yeah.
Was it Norgard
I don't think it was Norgard. If I see his
Anyways,
name, I'll remember. But
yeah,
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 I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
right. And then obviously today with their guys studs on Saka's Achilles for the
Davis.
red card. Yeah, that was very dangerous, and obviously we'll get to that in a minute. But thankfully, I think Saka should be all right from that. It's going to be a sore one, but he should be okay. But yeah, other than that, the game was good. I think it's something like this is what we needed ahead of the PSG game, which is, not to disrespect Ipswich, but almost like a training ground routine. Like Arteta tried a couple things. He looked at a couple formations. I'm not being disrespectful. Why are you laughing?
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth because
it is.
we're not gonna
training ground, bro. That's crazy, bro.
Bro,
well, look at it. We played. Okay, hold on. Let me explain what he meant. Let me give you. Let me.
I know what he meant. It's just like if you say it, you're kind of like you're looking down on Ipswich in a way, right? Training ground. To them, it was a full on fixture, but to you guys, it was a training ground. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because you have to watch how the game panned out to know what I mean by that. And so the way Arteta tried certain things throughout the game, like tactical adjustments, formation changes. Like for example, there's a reason why Partey didn't play today. In my opinion, one of them would have been obviously Arteta's and the rest of the team, as we saw with Declan Rice's reaction, are disappointed with Partey getting himself that stupid yellow card in midweek. So part of I think would have been Arteta's point to prove is say, okay, Partey, you're sitting out this game. Like as a punishment, you're not playing today because I need to look at the guys that I'm going to be playing potentially against PSG. Let's be real. Every game that Arsenal plays from here up until the PSG game, it's going to be tests, right? On how what he wants to do formation wise, what he wants to do tactics wise to get ready for PSG, right? Let's be honest about the situation, and that's kind of what it was today. I feel like so he was looking at our midfield setup today, how we're going to play without Partey, and again, it was interesting to see for me late in the second half that when we changed our starting midfield, Marino came out. And then Lewis Skelly came into midfield, and Rice was still at number 6. So actually, funny enough, Merdad, me and you were talking about this at the pub last week at the Real Madrid game, and we're talking about solutions. And you said actually that Arteta might consider putting Skelly in midfield at number 8 with Declan Rice at the 6. And I said I don't think he's going to do that, but I could be wrong. Look, he tried it today, so maybe that's something that he actually might be looking at potentially in terms of our tactical fluidity, right? Is have Declan Rice at the 6 and Skelly at the 8. And I just want to say, like in watching what he was doing today, I was, like I said, very much paying attention to how we were setting up on our formations and our patterns of play. We almost forget just how good Declan Rice is at number 6. I think this week, for full stop, he's proved that he's a world-class midfielder, in my opinion. Like I've come around to the belief that he is world-class. We said that a stage like Real Madrid was going to, have some of our guys stand up and be counted, and we'll really know where some of these guys' level is at after this tie. And I think we can now fully say that, Declan Rice is world class, along with your Bukayo Sakas and whatnot. But the way Declan Rice dominated Real Madrid's midfield, like this guy is just pure class, and he was playing in a more advanced number 8 position. And then we're all talking about, what do we do without Partey against PSG? Well, no problem. We forgot that we already have a world class number 6 in Declan Rice who can slot into that position, and it's like nothing. We don't lose anything. Maybe we lose the ball progression, sure. But
yeah, but in that case, honestly, the rotations that they were doing, sorry to cut you off, CJ, but the rotations
no
that they were doing, the one thing that I caught some of the highlights and some when I was able to tune in a little bit, because for the listeners, I am in the middle of a big move, so that's why I wasn't able to watch. But what I liked is what I think he might actually do for PSG is, because he's gonna want to try to go for it. He may just play the top 3 that we know: Gabriel, Martinelli, Marino, Saka, and I think what he might do is actually play Zinchenko in that left 8, and then drop Lewis Skelly to be able to have Lewis Skelly play in the position that he got into the team. And if anything, he might tell Rice, like, you're gonna have to protect that left side because Lewis Skelly wants to come in and Zinchenko is a defensive liability. I feel like that's more of an option in the lineup that he went with today. Because the only thing that I would change from this lineup if we were going into a PSG game is, like, PSG doesn't really have tall players, so you could get away with this lineup and maybe change Zinchenko with Lewis Skelly, and that's it. Because Trossard could do a job.
You're saying keep Skelly left back and Zinchenko in the number 8?
I personally, that's what I would do, because for Ukraine, Zinchenko plays forward and he has that ball progression, right? Defensively, we already know that he's a liability, and if we're going to have the likes of Dembele, Due, Barcola, and Kvaratskhelia attacking, I would prefer to have Skelly as left back versus Zinchenko. For obvious reasons that we've seen it happen. And if you have Declan Rice playing in there, I feel like it's going to give us a little bit more protection, and Timber is going to be on right back anyways. So it's going to give us that protection. The other thing that I can see him doing, if Ben White gets another full 90 against Palace, which I'm pretty sure he should be able to, what he could do is go with the
Timber
strongest back. Yeah.
And
go Timber left back, White right back.
Skelly in midfield.
Yeah.
I think I would probably prefer that as opposed to.
Don't want to play Zinchenko. I don't want to play Zinchenko.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Jorginho, this is not a shot at Jorginho. In a game where, and again, we'll do this breakdown probably next week, but in a game where it is all about speed, like we thought Madrid was about speed. Madrid's midfield has no speed. When they put Valverde in there, they had a little bit of speed, but they're not Vitinha, Neto, Navas and Fabian Ruiz. That is speed. Their transition, when you watch the Liverpool game and you watch the Villa game, they have a quick transition. So I wouldn't necessarily trust Jorginho's pace, and I would trust Lewis Skelly to do a job. So I think we're on the same wavelength, CJ, that we would prefer Timber as that left back and Ben White as the right back. But again, we can get into that full breakdown next week. But you saw the red card. What did you think? Harsh?
I think 100% a red card. Whether he meant to do it or not, there's talks of, did he mean it? Was it intentional? Some people were talking about his facial expression and saying that, he knew what he was doing. But regardless, for me, intentional or not, it's a red card. That's studs on the back of the Achilles. It's high. It's considered serious foul play, and that's what I thought right away. Once the referee pulled up the red card, and what the reasoning would be behind it would be serious foul play, and that's exactly what that was, and that's exactly what a red card is in today's day and age. That was definitely serious foul play. It was dangerous, very high on the Achilles. The Achilles is a very sensitive area, and you can tell by Saka's reaction the way he went down. That's a bad one, And again, thankfully he managed to continue on. Arteta likes to give me a heart attack because I wouldn't even have played him as long as he did, considering he was carrying that injury. I would have taken him off a lot sooner and said, yeah, that's you done for the day. Go rest, ice, whatever. So I think he should be okay. But yeah, for me, 100% a red card. And like I said, it helped us when I was referring to the training ground routine. It helped us in the sense that, obviously down to man, it favors us. Not as much intense running, not as much strain and stress on our players. We had 99.9% of the ball. So now it's just about moving patterns of play, trying to break down low block, trying to, tire the opponent out. The things that we like to do when we dominate possession, and we look good. We look good doing it. I'm only going to look into it so much because, again, we look good in possession, but that's against an Ipswich team that eventually went down to 10 men. So there's only so much I'm going to get carried away with how we play. Like Marino, was getting a lot of praise for how he played in midfield. But as we alluded to earlier, it's Ipswich, and against PSG. Yeah, no, we're being real, and against the PSG, like you said, there's going to be a lot quicker tempo, a lot quicker midfield. They're going to move the ball a lot quicker. So I am still a little bit concerned about Marino's pace if he were to play in midfield. But again, that's a discussion for the PSG breakdown. But again, I think I'm satisfied with the result and with how we played, considering because you still need to beat who's in front of you, right? So it's good for confidence of the Martinellis, the Trossards of the world who got their goals. Again, Marino did play well. Kivior played well. Our backline did their thing. So all in all, yeah, I think
your favorite center back.
he deserves a lot of credit, man. He does. He deserves a lot of credit. I was reading crazy stats that I think he's into the 18 to 20 games now that he's played in a row without losing. I'm hearing stats about how with his partnership with Saliba at the back that
he's never lost.
He hasn't lost, which is
knock on wood, knock on whatever you got in front of you, Laurent. Knock on wood, bro. Knock on wood.
Knock on glass. Yeah.
Listen, I was actually going to ask you a question about that red card, but since you said knock on glass, I'm going to move past you. Saka, he had from the highlights that I saw, he had 5 or 6 chances. He just couldn't bury anything.
Yeah, he could have had a hat trick within 10 minutes of the first half. When this is post the red card, I don't know if the crowd got to him too because they were booing him. Typical British fans. Saka did nothing wrong, bro. The poor guy gets studs on his Achilles, and the fans are booing him after he did something wrong. What? But yeah, man, in a span of 10 minutes, he could have had a hat trick. Typical chances that he would normally put away, he put just wide each and every time. But I don't think it'll phase him too much. He'll be fine.
We gotta give our one of our kids a huge shout out, Nathan Butler or DJ. He's been at the club since he was 8 years old. He got his first substitute in first team. He almost had a chance when he first signed on. When he first came on to score, and he hit it over the net. Man, that would have been the perfect story for him. Because I don't think we're going to keep him next year. I think this is it for him, and I think it's only by necessity that he's here. Because I think if Jesus and other players were healthy, he would not be on the bench. But I think it was a good cameo for him and a good confidence builder that he knows that he can keep up. Again, I understand that it's Ipswich, but again, these are Premier League players. They may be going down to the Championship, but sometimes the lower divisions are way harder to play than the Premier League because it's more physical. So it was a good sign for him. Just quickly before we move on from this Arsenal thing, I did see Jorginho's still out. It's a rib contusion. It's just a pain tolerance thing. To be honest with you, I can't believe I'm saying this. I would actually prefer that he's out for the PSG game, the first leg. Because I just don't think he has the legs to keep up. And I understand it's at the Emirates. I understand all of that. I understand his experience. He's won a Champions League. He's won a Euros. He's won a Club World Cup. I really genuinely worry about his legs. And I know this sounds like you, CJ, because you've had these worries of Jorginho before in the past, and I've always defended him. But genuinely watching PSG, and again, we'll get into the full breakdown, not next pod, the pod after that, but it really scares me. Just seeing how they dismantled Liverpool's midfield and how, Villa only had a chance when they brought in Amadou Onana. And Amadou Onana has the legs. And now we're missing Partey. I understand we have Declan Rice, but we're missing one of the 3 legs. And if you put in Jorginho as a six, our defense is going to be left wide open. There's going to be a lot of 3-on-1s, 2-on-2s, which that's not what I want to see. Whereas if we had Partey in there, or like for example, we had Rice and Lewis Skelly, I don't think we'd run into those odd man rushes and counters.
Mm.
I
Interesting.
don't.
That's definitely going to be one for the next couple episodes to discuss because I think I hold a slightly different opinion, but I'm still on the fence on where I'm at with it. I still feel like Jorginho has a part to play. Like I'm not ruling him out entirely, but yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. I'm going to sit on that for a couple of days and see how I feel about Jorginho's involvement in this one. I want to ask you guys a question though, because I know we talked about my opinion on the red card. I still want to know both of your guys' opinions on whether you guys think it's a red card or not. Because like I said, for me it's clear red, but not everyone may see it that way. I don't know if you guys hold different opinions. So if whoever
Let's
wants to go
let
first.
our resident Chelsea fan, Chelsea, Forest, Liverpool, United fan answer that.
That's it's a tough one. I think honestly, it's one of those calls that can go either way depending on the ref that's ref in the game. In my opinion, man, I'd be tempted to just give it a yellow if I'm being honest. Usually when you're running like that, right? You don't get your footing right. It's possible you can catch someone on the heel on the Achilles, right? It happens. Now at that point, right? Well, was it intentional? Was it not? But like I said, given the reasons that you gave, considering those reasons, I can see why a red was given. But for me personally, I would have given a yellow. What minute? It was early in the first half, right? Or
Yeah.
halfway through?
Yeah, it was early
Yeah,
at first.
yeah. Usually, yeah. If I was the ref, I would have been a bit more discretionary, especially as not to kill the game, right? For the team, I'd factor that in as well. Because sometimes right refs do that right where they're a bit more lenient depending on right what stage of the game it's at. Just to
But
make
see,
sure that
do you actually agree with that though? Like sometimes I think that it can be misunderstanding in that, or it might be a little bit misleading in that. Like for example, this is also an extreme.
hmm,
I punch a guy in the face in the 10th minute, and as a ref, what am I going to say? Oh no, it was early in the game. Like I'm not going to
yeah
give
no,
a red card. You know what I mean? Like if it's a red card offense, it's a red card offense. I think sometimes it doesn't matter. I see what you're saying, but certain things, it's like you have to look past the minute of the game, And I
I
think
don't disagree, but I don't think that challenge was one of those things though. Because like I said, I can see another ref just giving that a yellow, with a stern
Can
warning as to okay, careful next time, right? Yeah, which
can
is
I
I
ask you a
think
question,
yeah,
Laurent?
yeah.
I just want to
Mm,
pose something to you. So remember a couple of pods ago when Lewis Skelly got the straight red for a similar tackle, but it was not as high, and it was just to stop a counter. I forgot who it was against. CJ, do you remember
oh
when Lewis
Wolves.
Skelly? Yeah,
Mm.
when he got the straight red, similar type of tackle, but it was way lower. It was not on. It was not like lower Achilles. It was like right on the heel of the foot. It was
And very minimal
lower,
contact too.
very minimal contact. It wasn't studs. It was he almost like just grazed the foot, and you got a
Hmm.
straight red for that. Um, so like to me, and I'm trying to take my bias of being an Arsenal fan out. To me, the difference in this is like there was full studs like making that connection and pulling down on the Achilles, like back of the calf, pulling straight down. Um, I hear you by saying like not ruining the game that early, but like what if this was on Cole Palmer and Kunku, Nicholas Jackson, or your favorite Mark Cucurella, who's your I'm pretty sure he's your
mm.
top goal scorer. Like what would that change your tune?
No, no, it wouldn't. And this also is speaking all from experience on the pitch, where I'm pretty sure I've caught someone in that same manner, right? Um, Mind you, I had no intentions of catching him. It's just you're running, right? You sometimes when you're running behind someone, right? And like I said, like you don't get your footing right, and then you kind of just, you graze him, or right, or you catch him with your foot. But it's like when I look at that, it's like I didn't mean to hurt him. It just happened, right? Just one of those accidental things. So now if I were to get a red, in my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's excessive. You see what I'm saying? If the
But
game
can I
was
ask you a
recognized,
question?
yeah.
So typically the cars that are given, or for example, like let me give you an analogy. So when you're driving, you have X amount of demerit points, right? You have like 5 or 6 demerit points or whatever. And the demerit points are there so that, like if you get too many, your license gets revoked. You get a speeding ticket, there's no demerit points, you just pay a fine, your insurance goes up. You get another speeding ticket, there's points there, your points come down, right? It's meant to kind of deter you from doing things that they know that are dangerous. Maybe you were speeding because your wife needed to get to the hospital because she was about to give birth, or someone is feeling ill to get to the hospital, right?
Hmm.
But the rule and the letter of the law is if you're going above the speed limit, you can get a fine, right? If you go
Hmm.
through 10, 20, 30 in a school zone, it's more demerit points, or if you go 50 over, your car gets impounded. Same thing in football. Yet maybe your intent is not there to injure someone because I don't think inherently players at this level want to go in and injure someone. We're
Yeah,
not
I was
talking
gonna
about
say.
like the 1980s, 1970s, where like those men were trying to hurt each other. Like even the late 1990s and early 2000s in Arsenal United, like you could genuinely say that they were trying to hurt each other. Even though Davis maybe did not mean to hurt or injure Saka, and the PGMOL has said this all year, by the letter of the law, and if you're listening on Spotify, I'm making air quotations, by the letter of the law, that is a dangerous tackle, and it should be a red card. Whether your intent is to injure or not, that's still a dangerous tackle. You see what I'm trying to say?
It's,
I'm not saying you're wrong.
it's almost like you're getting penalized for a bit of carelessness and negligence too, because it's like, yo, like be more careful. Why are you literally right up the guy's ass enough to, studs
Yeah,
him that
I
high on
I
his Achilles?
I mean I understand, but it's like if we're going with what you're saying, then that's why the yellow card would be. You see what I'm saying? To as a caution, like don't do that again, right? Which is, I mean, like I said, I understand. We can even there were challenges. I think what was it the one on was it Everton and
I
Liverpool
was gonna say
or no?
Tarkovsky's challenge.
Yeah,
That's one
Everton
of
and
the
Arsenal.
few where it's
Yeah,
like, yo, you look like your intention is to hurt,
yes, and then that
and
doesn't
he
get
got
right. So
nothing for that.
so you,
Crazy.
yeah, so it's like yes, we're seeing letter of the law, but at the end of the day, referee interpretation does come into play heavily in
Of
real time, right?
course. But did you hear
Um,
what David, sorry, on that note, did you hear what David Moyes said after the Tarkovsky tackle?
what do you say?
He said he didn't see anything wrong with it. He said he got the ball first and his follow through hit him,
Mm,
which is fact. He got the ball first and he followed through. However, that's a tackle in the 1990s, 1980s. That's a clean tackle when David Moyes began coaching. In today's game, that's a leg breaker. And whether you got the ball first or not, that's a straight red. Even if you make the play, you still have to be in control of your limbs because you're still responsible for not injuring the other person. And if McAllister was, if his foot was planted or anything else, he would have had a broken leg. It would have been done for the next 12 months for him. Right? There, like you have to like in my opinion, it's like a speeding ticket, right? You go 10, 15, 20 over, they give you a fine to deter you from doing it again. So same thing with this. Like if they think that the tackle is bad enough, like they're gonna give you the most extreme fine in the sense of a red card to deter you from doing something like that.
Whether you mean it or not, essentially.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
again, I can see it from your side, Laurent, but like whether it was on Saka or whether it was on Cole Palmer, or whether it was on I don't even care Bruno Fernandez or like Mo Salah, I could care less. Like that's a dangerous play. That's a very dangerous play.
wait, so I'm curious now, like if you guys were in Davis's situation, right? So you're running top speed behind some guy, right? He's running top speed. Uh, I don't know, maybe even the guy that he's chasing stops suddenly. You see what I'm saying? Right? And you're gonna have to react. It's almost like you're driving behind someone, right? You're tailgating them,
hmm
whatever, and then they stop. You're reacting to what they're doing, right? In a split second. And that reaction, right? You're not able to get your foot out of the way, and you catch him in the same manner. The ref turns to you, gives you a red card. Would you feel justified in that moment? if I were to ask you guys, like, honestly speaking, like, would you feel like, like,
Are you saying
Well,
that's what happened in this case?
no, just in general, like if you're given a red card, right? It's the same tackle at the end of the day, right? It'd be the same tackle, right? It's the same
Mhm.
dangerous by definition, right? The same I forgot the term you used, but right, the dangerous play. Now, yeah, you get the red
Serious
card.
foul play.
Yeah, so yeah, there you go, right? So you get the red card, and I assume, right, obviously, like usually players, right, when they get the cards, they don't agree. But then after maybe you review the footage, would you still agree with the call? If you were in that position, you were the player, um, right? And mind you, like you had no intentions, right? Let's just say you weren't even trying to hurt him; it just happened.
I would understand it because
Mm,
watching it on replay, I would understand it. My argument would be to the PGMOL is like, I had no intent. Can we downgrade it to a 1 game suspension rather than a straight three? Because
mm,
I understand how it can be interpreted the way that it was.
mm,
Um, but like when you're saying like that's why there's a yellow card. In my opinion, I think the red card was valid, but I think this is one of those situations where I think the PGMOL could look at it and be like, okay, is this truly a 3 game ban?
Well, we have to first see how many games you're suspended for a serious foul play. Well, I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's three. I don't think it's three, to be honest with you. Um, but the point of what you're saying still stands. I still understand what you're
mm.
saying. It's like how
Yeah,
harsh of a red, because you can get a red card and there's different sort of penalties for a red card,
Right, yeah.
right?
There's definitely different grades of
yeah.
and
Yeah.
sorry, just before we move on, because I know we've been on it for a while, but I'd also like to know, like, especially for you, CJ, right, as a defender,
Hmm.
if you're in that position, obviously, right, you're trying to catch up to the man.
Hmm.
What should he have done? Because to me, the only thing that he could have done then is, well, either you slow down, or maybe you change your course of direction and you start running to the left of him, right, as
Hmm.
not to run directly behind him. Uh, but even that, it's like, you're not really going to do that in when you're right. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. So I think you're still insinuating that the example that you're talking about and today's incident is the same, right? That sounds like essentially what you're saying. Like it was what you think is a case of Saka just kind of came to a quick halt, a quick stop,
no, no, no,
and
no, no,
then
no, 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 no. So no, like I'm deferring for that. So just like whatever happened today, right?
okay.
Um, and I assume Saka was he didn't try to stop. He just caught up to him and he clipped him.
Yeah, because the guy was
So,
right on Saka's back the whole time. It's not like Saka
mm,
came to a sudden stop and then oh shit, the guy ran into him.
right,
Like Saka was not going at any quick speed or change of tempo. The
right,
whole time Saka has the ball and the guy's literally right on him. And at that point, you didn't need to be that touch tight to the
mm,
point where you how are you get in a position where again there was no quick abrupt stop to alarm you
mm,
where it's like shit, like I can't stop myself. Because we see those ones even running through midfield. Like say guys are running together and one guy the guy trailing clips his heels from behind. Those
mm,
things, those types of things are accidental. But in this
mm,
case where Saka literally has his back to the guy,
mm,
the guy's touch tight on him. If you're that touch tight on him enough to again, and this is why I call it negligence more than anything else because I don't think it was intentional, but it's negligence more than anything else. Similar to I know we keep using the driving analogies. Like imagine somebody who is driving behind somebody else. The person in front comes to a complete stop, and the guy behind tailgates him and hits him from behind because he was looking down on his phone at the time and not paying
mm,
attention to the road. You still get the same penalty for something like that. You know what I mean? Like the officer's not going to hear you, oh shit, like you were on your phone or you were looking to the side for a second. So I'll give you a little bit of sympathy for why you tailgated him. Well, no, you still tailgated him, right? So the penalty is the same regardless. Negligence is what that type of thing would be, like
Yeah.
getting into an accident or hitting someone from behind, even if it was unintentional, you weren't paying attention, you weren't whatever, you weren't aware. In this case, the guy today, he wasn't aware. Like, I'm not going to excuse you for being that high on a guy's Achilles because you didn't mean to. Well, then, I don't know, sort out your footing or what, like know
Give
your
space.
distances. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
to a certain extent. Like, why are you in a position where your studs are that high? And I think Laurent, the reason why that is still important to issue a red card for serious foul play in that instance is because, again, the negligence. While you didn't mean to, I don't
mm,
want to see players and important players in the future get injured and we lose important players in the game because guys are negligent. Maybe if other players in the league, across Europe, see this incident today and see why the guy got the red, it'll remind players to be on their P's and Q's in terms of, again, like Murad said, like, watch your footing, your spacing, be mindful of where your feet are. Similar in basketball. I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent, but similar in basketball. I don't know if you know a rule they implemented recently, where I
Three
think it was
pointers.
no. So Kawhi Leonard got injured in a series against Golden State because you have to give the guy space from 3-point range, right? If a guy's shooting a three, so what happened with Kawhi Leonard is he shot the three, he came down on the player's
Zaza
ankle.
Pachulia.
Do you remember? It came down on the player's
Yep.
ankle. Kawhi rolls his ankle. He's out for the rest of the series, and that obviously cost him and his team the series because the guy didn't give him enough landing space, essentially, right? Like the guy maybe didn't mean to have his foot planted there where Kawhi was going to land, but you had your foot planted there anyways. And Kawhi Leonard lands on the guy's ankle. Kawhi rolls his ankle because he didn't have enough landing space. Boom, you're out for however long you're out for. Like it's that kind of thing. Do you see what I'm saying, Laurent? Like I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's all to deterrent injury prevention.
Because we don't want our player that potentially could have been serious for Saka, and we don't want to see our future players be injured for things like this. So it's kind of a warning to your players. Be mindful, be careful of where your spaces are, your distances, how high your feet are. Like that's because we don't want to see our players get injured for that and not have that ruin our game. That's where I stand on it, essentially.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, if for all the listeners, like, drop a comment, what you think.
It's good talking points for sure.
Yeah, because again, like from an Arsenal lens aside, like everyone has different interpretations of it, so we'd be very interested. But enough Arsenal talk. Premier League doesn't really matter for us much right now. I shift gears to the rest of the Premier League fixtures quickly. Brentford beat Brighton 4-2. The real honest for me, the real talking point on this is the João Pedro straight red card. Once upon a time, I was actually like very high on João Pedro, but he just can't seem to keep his head. He's a captain of Brighton. He's part of the captaincy team, but it's just very alarming for me as a captain that you can't keep your head, because this isn't his first time getting a straight red card. This is multiple times now that he's been a multiple offensive for a straight red, and it's a little bit alarming. Like if I was their coach, and I know their coach is quite young, but if I was a coach, I'd be like, look, if I'm relying on you to set an example for the rest of the team, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you getting so many red cards? I don't know if I'm alone on this, but like I have a higher expectation if I put someone in a leadership position. Like I expect better from you.
No, I agree. Similar conversations would have to be had about someone like Acuna, right? Like we all want Acuna because he's a quality player, but he's got disciplinary issues as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those things can definitely deter a club from signing a player, even if you've got quality.
Yeah, but yeah, Brighton, like they're aside from the straight red, like they're hurting their chances of even getting Conference League. Now they're sitting in 10th place. They're 1 point behind Bournemouth for 8th. From the looks of it, 7th place is going to be Conference League because we got 5 Champions League spots. 6th place would be Europa, and 7th place would be Conference League. Now, the big fuckery of all this would be is if somehow Spurs or United win Europa and Chelsea wins Conference League, it's going to shift a lot of things. So Brighton has to kind of get into 7th to 8th place to kind of secure any chances.
What do you guys? Sorry. No, I was gonna say, touching up on that game as well. I mean, Mbeumo scored 2. I think he's at 18 this season.
Yeah.
So I think that puts him up there in terms of like the top scorers in the Premier League. But no, what do you guys think about him? Because I mean, I feel like him and Wissa have been carrying this team in terms of the points they're able to accumulate, right, through their goal scoring. So yeah, I feel like I don't know, it could be a player that could even find himself a better club, man, if he keeps performing.
Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea.
Shit. I mean, listen, yeah, I would definitely take him over some of the attacking options we have at the moment, for sure.
I think it's a system thing for him. I don't think Obama.
Mm,
I think it's a one and done. To be honest with you,
mm,
and I think the way that he's set up in Brentford with Wissa and the way that system revolves around them, I think it suits him. I think if he
mm,
went to a bigger club, like no disrespect to Brentford, but if he went to like Chelsea, Arsenal, City, like I don't think the game style would suit him and suit the creativity that he has. And also, I know we touched on it like a couple pods ago, and I think the weight of the shirt would get to him. I think he's in a perfect position, right? I don't think he's like a Michael Elise who leaves Palace and goes to Bayern and just kicks off.
mm.
And again, that I might be alone in this. CJ might have a different take, and you also might have a different take. But for me, I think this is the perfect place for him and Wissa. They have a very good dynamic duo. They have a good relationship. Um, yeah, for me, that's how I look at it. I don't know, CJ, if you're same tune with me or different tune.
Mbuemo, I think Mbuemo can get a better club. How high can he go is another question. But I do think he can get a bigger club. I think he is a player who can compete in a Champions League club, even even if you were to lead the Premier League and go across Europe. I think he can get a good club. Yeah, I do. But again, like how high? Again, there's levels to this thing, right? Like, can he go to like a Real Madrid? No, I don't think so. But he can definitely get a better club than a Brentford. I think his
Hmm.
mentality is such that he'd be able to thrive. Um, and then obviously, I think it goes down to like what kind of player are you when you go to a bigger club? If you were to go to like an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a big six traditional team in the Prem, are you going to be an impact player? Like, are you going to be one of the main guys, or are you content with being a squad player and fighting for your place? And some guys can't handle that role really well. Like, in my personal opinion, I think Jack Grealish is a good example of that. Where Jack
Hmm.
Grealish, I feel like, in order for him to be the guy that he really is, he needs to be the main guy on a team. Like, what's he call it? Like when he was at Aston Villa, where it wasn't when he came to Man City. Grealish had to change so many things. To change his playing style, had to defer to other superstars around him. And he still did well. Like, City fans, all five of them will tell you that in their trouble winning season, he impacted. Grealish was a big part of that trouble winning season. But I think it's fair to say that overall he hasn't been the Grealish across his 3-4 years there. He hasn't been the Grealish that he was at Villa. So I think something similar for Mbuemo, where he could definitely hold his own and impact on a bigger club, but he definitely won't be the main guy. Which will he be okay with is a whole other thing in itself. But yeah, he's a good player. He's definitely a good player. I think a lot of Arsenal, from an Arsenal perspective, uh, we were definitely, I think, considering him as someone that could be like a
Hmm.
Saka backup. But I think the emergence of Ethan Nwaneri has, for me, ruled out us, going for an Embuemo, because when Nwaneri does look like the natural successor or a backup or competitor to Saka's position.
Yep.
Um, I don't know, Laurent. What do you take him at Chelsea? Like, what do you think? You seem pretty keen on him.
I mean, just from because I think like when you have guys, playing for clubs that right aren't the top clubs, but they're still, showing up. Um, and to due to their efforts, right? That's the reason why their clubs are winning the games that they're winning, right? Or standing in a specific place, right? Or a specific spot throughout the season, right? So I think definitely that has to be rewarded. Plus, like I said, if I remember correctly, I think he's the fourth top scorer. Um,
He is fourth, but because Holland and Isak are tied for 21 at second place, and Salah is
mm,
27. So yes, you are correct. He's tied for fourth with Chris Wood
yeah, no,
on 18
so
goals.
yeah, man, that's almost a 20 goal season, right? That's it's not an easy thing to do.
And
So
Wissa's 16, sorry. Wissa's 16 and he's in sixth place.
wow, yeah. Yeah, no, so I think, man, like, you're definitely right, Murad, in terms of like the system, whatever system, right, the manager has for them is definitely something that they're capitalizing on, and that is allowing them to kind of hone in into their abilities, right? So it's a good point where well, if they were to leave and go elsewhere, right? Do you still get the same player, right? Generating the same output. So it's a big question mark on that. But no, in terms of like his composure, I think for me that was the key part. Especially, I don't know if you guys saw the goal today, but
Hmm.
to me, that's a goal where you have a guy like, right. Speaking of top clubs, Darwin Nunez, I can see him missing that. I can
Hmm.
see I
Yeah.
can see him missing 10 of those. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whereas Embuemo, right, gets it decisive. Right from the moment he kind of let that ball roll across his body, he already knew where he wanted to place it, and then he just buried it. Right, so that's very good to see in a forward. Right, so yeah.
Um, yeah, battle of the bottom feeders, West Ham, Southampton. Tied 1-1. Better result for Southampton because, West Ham, you got Kudus, you got Jared Bowen, you got Fulkrug, Suchek, the list goes on and on and on. Um, Paqueta, James Ward-Prowse. So, I mean, it doesn't change the needle for Southampton at all. Again, I've said it multiple times. I think Aaron Ramsdale is either going to go to Manchester United or Chelsea. Those are the two teams that definitely need a proper keeper, and Ramsdale is that. Um, and it was a stoppage time goal, right? So this game is relevant. If anything, it's just good for Southampton to know that okay, we can try to come back against Premier League clubs. A game that was surprising to me. I don't know about you guys, but Man City 2-0 to Everton. David Moyes has been on an absolute like he's been on fire since he took over Everton again. And to see Everton lose like that, um, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me because I do a little bit of betting on the side, like everyone does, and I actually had this game down as a draw. I did not think City were going to win. The odds were heavily, heavily favored to City, but like I did not expect a 2-0. I thought it was going to be a 1-1 draw or like a 0-0 draw with David Moyes kind of doing his tactical, like trying to get under City's skin. Um, but did you guys expect this from the robots?
Me personally, I wasn't surprised. I saw late in the game when I was checking the score every now and then it was still 0-0. I was like, okay, like fair enough. But in the end of the result, to see a 2-0 City doesn't surprise me. Here's the thing with me and Man City is like what surprised me more obviously is the fact that they've had the season that they've had, as opposed to them winning games. Like winning games for me is just always natural for me to see for City. It's like almost like revert to default settings. Like on their day when City's at it, obviously they've had an off season, but on their day when they're at it, the players are still there, as we know. It's still the same coach. Like this is practically the same team that's won 4 in a row, and it's the same people that we call the robots, anyways. So on their day they can literally still beat anybody. They've just had an off season and they've come down from the high that they've been on in the last few years, which is understandable, right? That happens in sports, swings and roundabouts and whatnot. But again, we have to remember this is still the same Man City team with quality players. They've all been there, done that. So to answer your question, no. Whenever they win games, it doesn't surprise me, even if it's against teams who are on form or against like a David Moyes or whoever, because City is just City, And the question I have for you guys, I want to know if you guys think that they'll be back the next season. Like will City be there or thereabouts? Will they go again? What do you guys think?
Depends on the 115. I'm asking for an extension post 115, and then I can answer that question.
Wait, is that verdict still not out?
It's not out yet.
It's ongoing, yeah.
Oh wow. Um, I mean, yeah, that like you'd have to factor in the consequences of that. But let's see, assuming right that the consequences are minimal or to nothing, right? Just a slap on the wrist. Um, their recent run of form is something that I think everyone should pay attention to for sure. Especially right, like say when you factor in the manager, and you already know, man, these guys are thinking right beyond the season at this point.
Yeah, yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Um, yeah,
100%.
so I think it's scary. It's scary, especially for for my team Chelsea, because man, we are not ready to compete with these guys if these guys do decide to come back. Like the factory settings, as you said, right? But yeah, no, and they're doing this without Holland.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Marmoush, he had a great game today. He just didn't capitalize on his chances. Mind you, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the players were slipping all over the place today.
That
Some
was
people were,
tactical from Everton.
yeah,
They
I don't
do
know.
that. They do that all the time.
Are you
They'll
serious?
flood. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's part of their tactics. They'll flood the
Oh,
grass because against teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, they want the grass to be more wet. It slows down the ball. When they
oh,
make it
okay.
mushier,
Right, right.
it slows down the ball a little bit because it's not like a surface level like when it rains and it makes everything slick. They make
Hmm.
it very, very wet so that the actual like ground is hard to like get what's it called, traction in.
Right, right.
Tactical.
How do you know? You talked to David Moyes? He told you, he gave you the inside scoop?
No, they did it against Everton did it against Arsenal. I think it was last year, and the commentators were saying that it's tactical because then the next game they didn't do that. It was dry as perfectly normal humidity or like, conditions.
Are they allowed
Um,
to do that though?
yeah,
Oh.
why it doesn't say anywhere in the rules that you can't upkeep your grass.
Yeah, but obviously you can't fucking, like flood the damn thing. Like,
Hmm.
Well, they're not flooding it, but they're being strategic with it. The groundskeepers know what they're doing. But it's tactical. It's tactical. I promise you.
okay, okay. True, true.
Um, Palace, Bournemouth. Um, there's a red card in this game for Richards. I believe it was at the end of the first half, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I mean, like this game isn't in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really change the needle much. Bournemouth, if anything, they lost the chance to kind of separate themselves from the likes of Fulham, Brighton, and Brentford to secure that eighth spot. Now they're just 1 point behind those teams. I would say it's a poor result for Bournemouth because they're trying to hunt for Europe. Palace, 44 points doesn't really change much for them. It's just getting prepared for next season. Um, Thank you, Villa. Thank you.
I can
Thank you,
comment on this
Villa.
game. I watched this one from beginning to end. This was a good
Take
match.
it. Go ahead. This is all you.
Yeah, man, this was a very good match. I was very impressed with Villa's performance. To be honest with you, I didn't expect a 4-1, but I think I talked about this last pod on how Villa needed to bounce back after their Champions League result. Um, let's not get it twisted. Villa's still having a good season because I just took in that they're in the semifinals of the FA Cup as well. You
Hmm.
know,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So for them to have gone again, we're talking about a club, who hasn't been in the Champions League for however long. So in our life, the three of us, between the three of us in our lifetimes, we've never seen Villa in the Champions League. So as Arsenal fans, we were excited that Arsenal made it back to the Champions League just last year for the first time in 7 years. So imagine Villa and their fans. They would have been over the moon having been in this position in the Champions League for the first time in however long. So you know yeah, I think they can be, of course they were disappointed with the result in midweek, but they can be pretty proud of their club. Quarterfinals in your first time in the Champions League, and like I said, 30 plus years, 40, however long it's been, certainly not in our lifetimes, is definitely impressive. It's not like they were in it to participate and they get knocked out in the first round. Like they went to the quarterfinals and almost got through against PSG. So I think they should be proud. And then again, yeah, they're still in a promising position in the Premier League. They can definitely still get top four, top five. It's up to them. It's in their hands if they want it, because the games are still there. um, and then yeah, like I said, FA Cup semifinal. So I think overall they're having a good season, and this result against Newcastle showed that they're still quality. They still
Hmm.
deserve to be where they're at. And I'm again from a different sort of perspective and a different agenda. I'm glad that they battered Newcastle. I personally do not like Newcastle. Obviously, they have it. They have Arsenal's number, but also they've had personal feuds with us over recent years. Their players, some of their players are dirty. Mind you, I would take some of them, but some of their players have kind of have a little bit of
Guimaraes,
disciplinary
Linton.
treatment towards our players and so on and so forth. And they have a lot of dirty pricks on that team, I find. So yeah, I like when they lose. Obviously, again, there's also the Isak factor, and if they don't make Champions League, Isak has a better chance of moving on. I still think that Newcastle will get Champions League, unfortunately, but I can still celebrate this result. I was happy about the loss, and yeah, Aston Villa, they played really well. They definitely played well. Ollie Watkins came to play. He was trying to prove a point, saying to the manager that he shouldn't have been dropped in the last few games. They have squad depth. That's one thing I realized, Murdad. We talk about what Villa didn't do or what they did in January versus what we didn't do. They have a lot of squad depth. Like, I'm still taking in. I can look back on this game and guys like Leon Bailey haven't touched pitch, and that's a player at Arsenal that we would take right now just for squad depth, but he's not even touching pitch at the moment because they have Daniel Mullen and they have Rashford and Watkins and Asensio. Like, they've got a lot of attacking
John
players.
McGinn, Morgan Rogers, Jalen Ramsey.
And let me tell you, yeah, their midfield, like, they didn't start Onana in this game, for example, who came on and scored a banger. Like, they've got midfield options. Ramsey also didn't start in midfield in this game because they went with the midfield of John McGinn, Kamara, Tielemans, and Tielemans is also having a great season. And they dominated that midfield. They frustrated the hell out of the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, who should have been sent off in this game, in my opinion, because he was fouling all over the place. So the midfield battle was key in this one. And yeah, Villa was clinical when it mattered, so I think they deserved their victory. Isak was anonymous, ended up coming off in the game. So yeah, shout out to Villa. They're still very much in the hunt.
They're in it. They're in it. 2 points behind Newcastle. Like, it's from third place to seventh. It's 2 points. So anything can happen. There is a world that Newcastle do not get Champions League. There is a world, right?
That's the
need Forest to pull up their socks, Villa to keep what they're doing, Chelsea to keep doing what they're doing, and City are just going to get it. I have full confidence that City are going to get it. So there is a possibility. I've said it to you guys on the pod, off recording. Like, every time that we chat about Villa, it always pisses me off because of the fact of what they've done in the transfer window. So for me, I'm just happy with the result. And, what was it? Chelsea.
Big result.
Jeez.
It goes to show, like, honestly, it goes to show that, like, imagine, Laurent, from a Chelsea persuasion, like, if you guys ended up beating Ipswich, was it one of the more recent games, that 2-2 draw?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are still well in the mix right now. So that extra 2 points here and there makes such a big difference in this.
They wouldn't wait, race. CJ. They would have been in the title race if they had beaten Ipswich.
That's crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, no, you see what I mean? Like, look, like, you guys are still well in the mix, and, like, an extra 2 points if you guys have beat Ipswich, that puts you guys on 59, which you're probably sitting where Newcastle is. So it's still very tight, and yeah, I think you needed this win today to bounce back after that recent poor result. So yeah, Laurent, you're gonna have to give us your opinion on this one. I didn't see the game or the highlights, so I don't know how was the game, and what do you think?
Man, that was a hard game to watch. Very, very hard to watch. Man, I mean, I know you're probably looking at the score and you're like, but no, the score does not describe the game. Yet again, a very slow start. Just a bad game, man. Just from until we scored our first goal. But Reece James, I don't know, man. That guy, he was the reason why we conceded that goal. He picks up the ball within his half, and just casually strolling, doesn't realize that the defender is coming onto him, right? Gives the ball away, and then they convert. Um, Other than that, him, Jackson, non-existent, man. That guy, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what.
Upgrade required in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, damn, man, like for real, at this point, like you've gotten all the chances, two different managers I want to see. I think even three, but yeah, no, you've been giving so many chances, but I just don't feel like there's a hunger in him to want to score at this point. Um, and the one thing that I'm noticing too is because who's the other guy that usually would then come in, right? Is Nkuku, and I feel like if Jackson is the main guy, but his standard isn't up there, and Nkuku isn't even trying to come in and up the standard or whatever. So now you have two guys that are just complacent with not wanting to deliver, right? In terms of performance, and it just shows, man. No confidence, no power, no aggression, no hunger. And you can't be that guy and leading the charge, right? Being in the number 9 position, it doesn't work. So yeah, no, they got subbed off, and then funny enough, Jackson's substitution, I believe Tyreek George was the guy that gave us our opener, right? The young guy, first goal for the club in the Premier League. So that was that, and then we got lucky, last minute, right? Stoppage time, Neto. I don't know if you guys seen the goal, but whew.
What do you mean, bro? I'm the one who scored. You said I looked like Pedro Neto with my haircut.
Oh my God.
I was the one that scored the goal. That's why I'm so tired, bro. That's why I'm sipping on Henny. I scored the goal.
Yeah.
Coach gave me tomorrow training session off. I'm just sipping the Henny.
Looks like you need a refill at this point, mate.
Yeah.
I do. I literally do,
Yeah.
but obviously I can't go upstairs to refill. But don't worry, after the pod, I'll definitely be getting a refill.
Wow, that's crazy. Finally, he decides to claim him after, no, I don't look like him. No. But yeah, no. So yeah, I think in terms of like Chelsea players this season, he's been one of the guys that you can tell he's putting in effort. He has a certain drive about him. He's trying to make a point, right? So kudos to him. As fuck, man, we needed that because if we tied,
you guys would have been fucked.
Yeah,
you probably would have been in the same spot because of goal differential. No, my apologies. You guys would have been because you got 50. So you got the full 3 points. Sorry, you guys would have been in 7th place.
Right.
3 points behind Forest and Villa.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you actually needed that.
Yeah, would have been 8th place actually.
No, because they go bumped up. No, Forest and Villa would get bumped.
Oh, is that right? Wait, so say they lost, say they drew the game, so that they would have them on 55. So they'd be 8th.
No, if they drew the game, they'd be 55, and if they
it would be 8th.
No, but Forest and Villa would go up because they're on 57 right now.
Oh, correct. Yeah, maybe I've been drinking too much Henny.
Only thing I do have to say about that game is I know Pedro Neto, Arsenal was linked to him, and the one thing that we were always talking, CJ and I used to always talk about it, is that he's so injury prone that it gave us a lot of hesitation to want to go in for him. But when he isn't injured, he is a bad man. When he's healthy and he's playing, he is a bad man. So I'm not happy that he's doing well at Chelsea for obvious reasons. However, he's class in my opinion. Yeah. I think that Enzo Maresca needs to get a different tune out of him. I think moving him around in different positions doesn't bode well for him. I think he needs a little bit of consistency and run of games. However, I think he's doing well with the position that he's in right now. But yeah, no, it's a good result for Chelsea, keeping their Champions League hopes alive. But a team that will not be seeing Champions League for another year unless they win the Europa League, Manchester United.
Shambles, actual shambles.
I mean, to be fair, they had a decent game today.
Define decent. Can you define decent in the context?
That's what I'm
of
saying.
Manchester
brother,
United?
It's another freaking home loss. I'm not even gonna give you that credit.
They're fucking 14th. on 38 points. Define
No,
decent,
no, no. But
please.
to be fair, you know, it was 1-0, and how no, no, seriously, you guys know how the goal came?
No.
How the goal came about? It was a free kick. It was like a Declan Rice, type free kick. Top bins. So it's like, what do you do, right? Like,
So
well,
where were their chances in the game? Why were they in that position where 1-0 free kick cost them the game?
no, that's fair. That is fair. It's just they obviously they couldn't convert. Bruno had his chances as well. Um, Surprisingly, he did not get that ball in the back of the net. But I think what is highlighted here for these guys is their attacking options, right? Now Xerxes, I think that guy's gone due
Mm-hmm.
to injury.
Yeah.
Um, and who's right? Who else is there? Hoyland, right? Like so,
Yeah, poor.
they're gonna have to figure that out. They even tried putting Mainu in.
Manu is good up top. He's been
Yeah,
playing well as an attacking eight.
yeah, they placed him there.
So
Hmm.
Bruno didn't start, right? So clearly their priorities are on going all out for the Europa League. I think even the
Correct.
coach said it. So
Yeah, Amarim said that in his last press conference. He said we need to have a little bit of patience in the league because I think they're not going to get relegated. So I think they're just playing a rotated squad.
This guy's
Um,
laughing.
no, because I saw something today that said Arsenal's victory over Ipswich confirms that Spurs and United stay up and they avoid the relegation, which is hilarious.
but there isn't really much to say about this game, honestly. United, you suck ass. Um, I hope you fucking get smacked in Europa and you just suffer more pain. Um, Anyways, on happier notes, Laurent, your boys, Liverpool.
Mm.
That was a cold celebration by Trent. That was a cold celebration. I don't know if you saw it, CJ, but that was cold. That was ice cold.
Yeah.
Was
So
his goal
cold it
class?
has huh?
Was his goal class?
Yeah, it was yeah, I mean,
It
for his
was,
position, like
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And plus it was clutch, it was one of those
yeah,
late goals, right?
yeah.
So yeah, no. I think as a result of his celebration, the fans are now thinking maybe he's looking for a contract extension.
No,
That's
no, no. Come on now, no, no, no,
I mean
no.
that listen, that's the rumor around town, man.
No, I
He's
think
changed.
he's
He's making
doing.
a U-turn.
No, I don't think so, man. I think it's more so of him like being like, okay, you're on my back, but I've done everything for this club and I'm gonna leave. It's not that, man. I don't think he's coming back. Because think about it. Yes, I understand Van Dijk and Salah re-signed. They signed 2 years. In 2 years, there's gonna be a better right back that's gonna go to Madrid. He's not gonna lose this opportunity.
mm, yeah, that's a good point.
And
We
like,
should.
who
We should.
knows?
I would like
Oh,
to
sorry.
spend time talking about things like this when we have a little bit more downtime on players and their loyalty and what that means. Because, like, what's his ambitions? You would think, like, he's at a good club already, like Liverpool. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not talking about like an Embuemo who's at like a Brentford, and it's like, oh shit, like I need to go to a Real Madrid or else I'm going to miss out. Like, he's already at a. Is he being extra greedy? Because he's already at a good club, like I said, in Liverpool, who they win trophies. They won Champions League recently. They won. They're going to win the Premier League.
They
Like,
win
I'm
everything.
very curious to know his motives for leaving. Maybe it's just the appeal of Real Madrid. Like, would he do this for any other club? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's just the Real Madrid factor. I don't know.
But yeah, if Arsenal had lost today, then Liverpool would have won the league. But we got to delay one more game.
Saying we're giving them the guard of honor, eh?
Yeah,
Fuck sakes, man.
it is what it is, man. I honestly, at this point, like we knew it was coming.
But
It
how
is
does
what
that
it
work?
is.
Who?
So if they get crown champion, like for example, if if we had lost and they win, like if we had lost this game against Ipswich and they had won the Leicester game, the next game that they play, which would have been Spurs would have given them honor, guard of honor. So every game after that, once they're crown champions, each team would give them the guard of honor. But from
Oh,
the way that the point system is looking like, for when they are going to be crowned with the way that the victories are, it's going to be the Arsenal game.
okay. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Anyways, I don't want to talk about that motherfuckers. I want to talk about Laurent's team. Laurent's second, I think his second team. Nottingham Forest take on Nando's FC. Laurent, what's your prediction? Are you surviving Champions League spot? Are you not surviving? What's your prediction against the Nando's FC?
Honestly, I think Nottingham Forest can win this game.
You
Uh,
think or are you confident? I want
no,
a stamp of approval.
I mean, there's this guy. I think there's a few things to consider here. For one, does Postecoglou right still keep his focus on the Premier League at this point, right? Kind of like
Hmm.
how Amarin came out and said, well, right now, right, it's Europa. They're in the same position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um, Pretty
facts.
much. So if that's the case, then to Nottingham Forest, it could be an easier game for them, right? Because Nottingham Forest, right, that's really the only thing that I
They're
think
fighting for.
that's yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'd say even if just early predictions, I'm going 2-0. 2-0
Wow.
Nottingham
Okay.
Forest, yeah.
If Forest win, they jump from sixth place to third place on 60 points, so it's a must win. If there's ever a must win game for them, it is this is one of those must win games.
Mm.
CJ, do you have any other take aside from that, or are you
I think that's pretty well said. I think Laurent said it really well there. To be honest with you, like just assessing the whole situation, it's easy to look at it in isolation and say, "Oh, tough game and stuff for Forest," but it could be easier than we think with the fact that literally all like from a Spurs and United perspective, all their eggs have to go in this Europa League basket. Like to the point where you hear the managers coming out and saying that. Managers shouldn't come out and say that in a press conference. Like they should treat every game professionally and say, you know, like Arteta is doing as well. Like obviously he knows the title race is done, but you have to come out and be professional. You can't say certain things in the media, but I mean, again, it's obvious to the world when you're in a Spurs position or you're in the United's position, like we all know it's Europa League for them or bust because of how poor their league position is.
uh-huh.
So yeah, like that has to be considered from a Tottenham persuasion. Is like, like yeah, if you lose this Europa League, like anything, this is the fine margins in football, right? It's you win, you have a successful season from a Spurs perspective, or United's. If you lose in the semifinals, even a final, it's like you've had the worst season in history because you're lower half of the table in the league, which is unacceptable. You didn't win a cup, so yeah, like that being considered, I think Ange will even say it without saying it. He knows
Mm-hmm.
that all his eggs are in the Europa League basket, which could definitely be in Forest's favor. So will it be enough to win? I think if I had to predict, I still think it would be maybe a draw, but I wouldn't be surprised if Forest did win in the end.
I'm gonna jump on Laurent's bandwagon. I think it's gonna be like a 2-3-0 or 2-3-1
Mhm.
Forest. I don't think Spurs will have much to give it. And I think Ange is actually going to be pragmatic for once and protect his front line because he just lost Son for an extended period, and I think he's not going to play games. I think he's going to make sure that for Europa they're ready to go. Just quickly before we move on to our predictions for our midweek game, just a couple games around Europe for the teams that are in the semifinals. Barcelona looks like they're going to be without Lewandowski for the remainder of the season, for at least for the next two legs of the semifinal. He got injured in the Celta Vigo game, um, which was a wild game, 7 goals. Barca ended up edging out 4-3. Um, Again, makes it a little bit more enticing for Inter, not having to deal with Lewandowski. We'll see. We'll see how long the injury is, but the initial news that I read online is that he's not going to be ready. Definitely not for the first leg, and potentially not even for the second leg. So that's a huge loss.
Wait, what was the
Huge.
injury?
I believe it was muscular.
Oh,
I don't think it was. I don't think it was hamstring, but I think it was. Let's see. Oh, it was a hamstring injury. Oh, look at that. Yeah, he's definitely not playing the Copa del Rey and potentially the Champions League final. So that's a huge loss. So they do have the firepower up front. to be able to potentially survive, but still, Lewandowski's class. And when you go into semifinals against the likes of Bastoni, um, and that Inter back line and their, 3-5-2 versus 3-5-3, you wanna have Lewandowski there with you.
Can I say real quick? I think I realized that I'd rather play Barca in a final than Inter. A couple of reasons. Like I want that revenge. Obviously, for I think it would be a W for football if any team beats Barca in the Champions League because Barca has always, as they say, cheated their way through some of their victories. Allegedly,
Yeah.
UEFA Lona and all that had the refs in their back pocket. So that's one reason why I'd love to get revenge. And obviously, we played them in '06 and lost, so it'd be nice to have that storyline again. But also, I think matchup wise, I think it would be easier for Arsenal. And again, we'll get
Mm-hmm.
into this with the breakdowns when we analyze that stuff closer to if that time comes. But I think if we got past PSG and got to a final, I think I've solidly confirmed within myself that I'd rather play Barca than Inter. Like I think we can get at Barca more. We play better
Mm-hmm.
against teams that come at us. Inter would be horrible to play against because we have problems breaking down low blocks, and Inter is such a good defensively structured and organized team that it would be extremely difficult for us to break down an Inter team. I honestly think we would have more joy against Barcelona. Again, looking at their results on the weekend and against Celta Vigo, was it yesterday that they played?
Yep,
Like
Celta Vigo.
they concede chances and like they've conceded another 3 goals yesterday. Like like
Mm-hmm.
that's victory by chaos. That's not organized, controlled game managed victories. They're winning games by like they're winning by the odd goal here and there. They're conceding goals and making it hard for themselves. Like there's definitely vulnerabilities and frailties in that Barca team. So I would rather play them, but I'm fearful now that even especially without Lewandowski, I see it hard for them to get past Inter. To be honest with you, I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit too much,
No,
but
it doesn't. It doesn't bode well for them because they need Lewandowski. He opens it up for the likes of Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. So it's not like who are you gonna play up top? Ferran Torres? You're gonna play Ansu Fati?
it's a big drop off
You
without
know.
Lewandowski.
So, but speaking of Inter, they actually lost to Bologna. It was a late goal, from my understanding. Um, that that cost Inter. But again, that's the thing, right? Like there might have been some fatigue involved. There might have been this and that because Inter are an older team overall compared to the rest of the teams that are in the Champions League semis. But again, we'll see. We'll see how they do. They're still fighting for the Scudetto, so I mean, I don't know. Like, doesn't listen, man. I'm on the same lens as you, CJ. I prefer Barca over Inter. Um,
Inter's a scary prospect, man.
so I don't know. And the last of the semifinalists, PSG, they keep their invincible season going. Um, Probably gonna mess this up. Le Havre, Le Havre. I don't know, but Desert Due, man, they got him for I think like 30 mil for Lons. He's so good. He is so good. I saw the goal that he scored. Watched some of the highlights. Um, he is so good. I don't know. Like I don't want to. Yeah, and I think was it? Am I wrong in saying that he was compared to Neymar?
No, no, definitely heard of that. Those comparisons. And I mean, yeah, I can see it in a right in a way you kind of see it. That flair that he likes to wait till the opponent, that very last second before he'll move the ball like out of the way or like yeah, but it's just like the creativity. You see it. He's one guy that can unlock the defenses, right? If it ever comes to a point where a game is in a state of being a stalemate, for example. Yeah, fuck man, Chelsea could use a player like that. I'll say that
He's
much.
so good, man.
Yeah.
And he was playing out of the midfield this game. And he's so young too. That's a scary part. He's 19. He's freaking 19 and he's doing this. So we're gonna talk probably in heavy detail for the PSG breakdown regarding Doué because he's gonna be one of his players to watch. Um, Before we wrap it up, Arsenal got a midweek game against Palace before our first leg against PSG. Um, I'm pretty sure no one got the scores right because I don't think anyone
Nope.
predicted a 4-0. So I'm still in first place, as
Wait, what?
always.
Wait, what? Run that back.
I'm still in first place. Anyways, I'm joking. So CJ's still on two correct scores. I got one. Laurent has one.
Doesn't Laurent have two?
No, Laurent has
No,
one.
I got one.
Okay.
One. Last week we started in reverse order from Laurent and I, then CJ. This week we're going to start off with the expert predictions. CJ, what do you got? Arsenal Palace. No extensions provided.
That's crazy. I should still be going last. Privilege since I'm top of the table, but that's fine. I'll go first. No problem.
You go first to set the example, set the tone. We're at the Emirates.
You guys can learn off my my tactics.
Of course, Laurent and I are learning how to cheat. We're learning how to cheat in a political setting.
Damn, I don't like these allegations, bro. First you call me an alcoholic, then you call me a cheater. That's crazy.
Allegedly. No, I'm calling. No. Whoa. I'm calling myself and Laurent a cheater. Allegedly.
Oh, okay. I'll accept that. All right. Palace.
Eberici Eze. Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Eddie Nketiah.
Eddie, your favorite player.
Yeah, waste
That's
man.
your signed Eddie jersey.
Waste man, bro. I'm kidding. Eddie's not a waste man. Love you, Eddie. Thanks for your service. This guy scored 2 goals all season, I believe, something like that. 2 or 3 goals for Palace, man. Like, just goes to show we should have got rid of that guy. Got rid of him a long time ago, man. This guy wore the 14. Thierry Henry.
T.
Yeah. Disrespect. I don't know what Arteta was thinking there. But, yeah. Palace. Watch, Eddie's going to come back and score against us. Palace. I think we're going to win.
Okay.
I think we are going to... Arteta's going to go strong because we have a good break between Palace and PSG game. So he's going to go strong enough. So, I'm going to stick with my... Palace's dangerous players on the counterattack and whatnot. They got good players. So I'm going to stick with my previous prediction, and I'm going to go 3-1 to the Arsenal.
Bro, are you serious, man?
What? What's wrong with that?
I swear this is like 2 weeks in a row where it's like whoever's going first is take. Now I don't want to say 3-1. I don't want to do that, bro. Yeah, I was legit gonna say exactly that. Exactly that.
What are you gonna say instead?
That's good. That's a good. That's good.
No, bro, go stick with it. Because either way, you keep pace. If I get it right and you get it right, you're still.
Nah, but it feels like I've been called a cheater. You know,
allegedly.
And yeah, bro. 3-1. I'll go 2-1. Arsenal.
I'm gonna go 2-0 to the Arsenal.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I think that 3-1 looks very likely. Bro, that Palace has not been in form.
No.
Recently, and yeah.
And they're gonna have one eye on the FA Cup. They're in the FA Cup semifinals this weekend.
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
So yeah, 3-1 to the Arsenal sounds favorable. So how does it work? So do we get any points for? Because obviously none of us got the actual score prediction right from Ipswich, but do we get any points for like the score predictions? Because I said Trossard, he scored. I think Laurent might have said Martinelli, or somebody else said Martinelli, and Martinelli did
Nah,
score.
yo, you don't get points for that. You gotta get the score, and then that's like a bonus.
Mm. But who said
Yeah,
Martinelli to score?
nice
Was it
try
you,
though.
Laurent?
Checking right now. Checking right
Nice
now.
try. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I said Saka.
Oh,
It
okay.
was
I
Martinelli.
said I
That's why you're
said
not in favor of this.
Hmm?
I
I
tried to help
said
you out, Laurent.
Marino. I said
Oh,
Marino.
I thought somebody said Martinelli. No,
No,
it's
bro, you
Martinelli.
gotta stay off that wine.
Mm.
That short-term memory loss is kicking in.
I see how you guys are. I tried to help one of you guys out because I thought someone said Martinelli.
Oh, fuck. You guys want to do you guys want to do another goal scorer for this game too?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Wait, why not?
Yeah,
What's
why
the
The
do
fuck?
point? Apparently, we don't get credit for that. So I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, but you have
Bro,
to get the score correct, and then that counts.
Nah, bro, it's a lot of homework. It's a lot of work. Forget it.
what, bro? Yo, can I go?
Yeah,
I'll
go
say
ahead. Yeah.
Nketiah.
This guy's really trying to finish
Yeah.
last in the table.
I'm gonna say Marino again. So I guess we're skipping CJ, right? Because he doesn't want to participate.
Yeah, I defer. This is nonsense.
I defer. This is nonsense.
Wait, do you guys
Okay.
think
That's a player, Laurent. Just so you know, I defer. This is nonsense. I think that player is coming through the academy. He'll be called up for our next game.
yeah, no, I heard him. I heard him.
This guy's gonna name it the
Yeah,
title of the episode.
yeah, man's a baller. Man's a baller still.
Yeah,
But
he wears the number 10.
no, but speaking of Mourinho, wait, like who do you guys think is more favorable in that nine position, him or Trossard?
Ooh, good questions. Good questions. See, the problem is for me, if Partey wasn't suspended for the PSG game, then it's an easy solution. I think Marino keeps his spot up top because he's been balling out there. His output, like in terms of GA goals and assists, and then even overall performances as well. Like he's been doing well in the nine. So again, full team. If we're going into like a Champions League final tomorrow, I'm starting Marino at the nine. He's just done more. I'm not going to give Trossard the benefit of the doubt against Ipswich, with all due respect, because it's Ipswich. And like you have to look at more about what Marino's doing as well. Like it's the link up play and the way Marino's able to combine with other players around him. Like he got 2 quality assists against Real Madrid last game. Like the weight of pass, his vision, his hold up play, and things like that. So for me,
Even
I would
off the ball, just adding on to you, CJ.
yeah.
Even the off the ball play, the defensive work rate, and things like that, especially when you're playing the likes of PSG, Real Madrid, and even if potentially we are able to get to a final between Inter or Barcelona, you need that off the ball work rate. Not saying that Trossard doesn't do that. However, Trossard is sometimes the physicality part is not there. Do I think that Trossard is a better clinical finisher? I think I've been quoted in saying this on the pod, and I've definitely said this to you, CJ. I think Trossard is one of our best finishers in the team, but I don't think he's physically there. I don't know if CJ, you were gonna because everything else you said, I totally agree with you.
I think you're pretty spot on with that. There's no doubt about his finishing ability, but we need more than that against quality level opposition in the Champions League.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Well, on that bombshell, next episode we're gonna just quickly breeze by some of the FA Cup ties that are coming up this weekend, midweek games, and just kind of getting prepared for that PSG breakdown, which is going to be released next week. So we got one pod in between, and then we got the PSG breakdown. For all the listeners, like maybe we'll start just quickly talking about the other Champions League ties, but we are going to spend a heavy amount of time on this PSG tie because this is first semifinal 2016, right, CJ?
The first time we've been in the semis?
Yeah. No.
Since
since 2016. Yeah.
Since 09, I want to say. 09 against Man United.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been a hot minute. Um, but yeah, I don't know if you fellas got anything else to add before we wrap it up.
No, I think well said. Like, again, very much full focus is on the semifinal. Again, first time since 08, 09 against Man United. So, we're in a very a position that we haven't been in a long time, so this is definitely where our full focus and attention lies. There's a real opportunity here to win this damn thing. I think Laurent alluded to it before. It's like you're in this position now, like you have to be thinking about winning the whole thing. Like that's just such as the ambition that you should have as a top club. We're not going up against a Real Madrid anymore, and even the Real Madrid team that we just beat, some would say isn't even the best version of a Real Madrid. So they're out. We've knocked out Real Madrid. The club who's most prestigious in this competition. There's no Liverpool. There's no Man City robots. Like there should be really no excuse as far as I'm concerned. The final four teams. You look at, PSG, Inter, Barca. Like if somebody told me at the beginning of the season that we're going to be in a Champions League semifinal against PSG, I would expect to win that. And then you go to a final against either Inter or Barca. Again, that's not prime Real Madrid with CR7. That's not Barcelona with Lionel Messi. That's not, even the best Bayern Munich teams of the past. That's not Man City treble. Like Arsenal should be. Maybe I'm setting expectations too high, but I think for me the expectation from here is that we should go on and win this thing because why not? Like, well, if not now, then when? Like this, it got to be the time is now. So, yeah, I still have very high hopes that we get to the finals minimum, and who knows, anything can happen in a one-off game. So I'm again so much looking forward to this. I'm thankful that the Champions League is what's keeping our hopes alive this season in terms of success. So, yeah, man, let's get it. Let's see where we're at.
Laurent, take us away.
Yes, the power of now, as they say, right? But yeah, no, I agree. In terms of even what CJ said, right, in regards to the standards and whatnot, the expectations from the clubs, from the fans. At this point, right, down to 4 teams. Truly, at this stage, it's whoever wants it more, really, right? Whoever shows up for those 2 legs is the team that's most likely going to pass, right? And go through to the next round. But other than that, thanks again to everyone for tuning in. For those of you who are thinking that I'm going to go ahead and promote, it's not that episode. I'll just cut it here. But do subscribe, right? Show your love. Share with your friends and family. We're like I said, we're here to drop these episodes for you. I don't know why that's that.
I don't know why either, bro. Holy.
I feel like because he thinks it's gonna come, but it's not. Don't worry.
What's gonna come? Tell me, please. Please enlighten me.
No. And so see you guys next week. And stay tuned for what we have to drop for y'all in the next episode.
Will we break down a key pivotal semifinal in the Conference League?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry, if you weren't gonna say it, Lord.
Yo, who does Chelsea play? Who does Chelsea play?
Bro, I couldn't tell you, bro.
Oh my days.
Before we go, I'm actually cramping. Ow, my stomach. Yeah. They play Djurgården.
Who?
Djurgården.
You say Djurgården?
Yes.
Sounds like something I can get at Costco. Holy shit. Yo, end the stream, bro. Oh, man.
Bombshells.
Thank you, everyone.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, honestly, man, all I'm saying is, y'all better hope you never play in that Conference League, man.
Y'all better hope you don't play Djurgården, bro.